Hey everyone, today we're diving into the world of budget tech. Well, as always, specifically I want to answer a question that might be on your mind. Should you buy a cheap used Windows tablet? I mean, is it even worth it, or you are just setting yourself up for frustration? I recently picked one up for just 30 euros, so now we can put this idea to test. Moreover, my little device is not only interesting because of its price, it also has dual boot with Android, Full HD screen and 4 cores. 4 cores doesn't sound impressive today, right? Well, today I will show you what can you expect by an old thing like this. So let's begin. So, what are cheap Windows tablets? Those devices often run an older Intel Atom or Celeron CPU, which weren't much capable even when they were new. The one I bought has Intel Atom X5C8350 and the device is called Chewy Hi10 Pro, and yes, it was cheap even when it was released. As mentioned earlier, CPUs like that are usually very weak, but they have an advantage: low power consumption. My unit also doesn't even heat. Now finally let's come to the performance, which is the big factor with these older Windows tablets, and of course it's also the most interesting and important part of the device. With an Atom CPU, basic tasks like web browsing, email and watching YouTube are doable, but they aren't exactly smooth. I would even say they are not smooth at all, and the problem is actually, I don't even think that the problem is the compute power. The problem is the Windows itself, it's just not smooth. You can see how fast it is on your screen. When it comes to YouTube, when you finally manage to load the main page and open video, it runs surprisingly well in 720p. With some frames dropping, you can even try 1080p, but I would still prefer 720 because of it's more stable. As for gaming, I only have a recording of GTA San Andreas, which was not playable, but I also tested Half-Life 1 and a couple of 2D platformers. None of them were even close to be playable. I was getting around 2 or 5 frames per second and I don't know any reason. If you know why might that happen, write in the comments, because the power of this device should be sufficient, but for some reason, well, it is not. I even managed to use this tablet as third screen thanks to Space Desk application. It wasn't smooth because of bad graphics or CPU, I don't know exactly, but it would work fine for DIY or something that isn't dynamic, like usage of your PC resources. Unlike Android tablets, Windows ones have usually a decent amount of ports and you can see them on your screens. The most interesting one for me is micro HDMI, so you can connect external screen to it. Sometimes these older Windows tablets may come with extra features that you don't usually see today. Mine, for instance, has a dual boot, which lets you to switch between Windows 10 and Android 5.1. Now Android 5.1 is super outdated and not that useful, but it's cool that you have this option. Windows is where you will get the most use. You can install pretty much any Windows application that will run on low power, and that is amazing. The only downside of Windows is Windows Scale. Usually for a system to look normal you need 125 or 150% of scale. That causes some UI elements to look very bad, and that's not a problem of device, it happens on any Windows machine. While every video I praise old Apple devices for having 5 GHz network present and working, this crap from 2016 doesn't care, only 2.4 GHz, and it is working not well, to say at least. So, is a cheap Windows tablet worth it? For its price, honestly, yes, if you know what you're getting into. For price like that, you get a Windows 10 device with working battery and screen, and if you're realistic about its limitations, it's a decent buy, of course not as your main device. If you're looking for something that can replace a laptop or do heavy multitasking, this is certainly not an answer. You will need to invest in a more powerful machine, but as budget tech experiment, it is surprisingly fun to mess around with. If you have some tasks for such baby, it will handle them. Leave a comment and in the next video I will make very first iPad suffer, so subscribe to this channel, put a like under this video, goodbye.